Welcome to Come Back with Erica Cobb, Conversations with My Sister. Now, I know that this is the bonus episodes that I promised you, and I said that I would have 2 episodes a week. I'm just going to be 100% transparent, okay? I am having technical issues in my main studio behind me, for those of you who are watching the visuals right now, and I will be up and running very soon, so I will have more episodes to share with you guys, and I appreciate those of you who have reached out and been like, where's my other episode? But you're enjoying this one, and I appreciate you listening. So let's get to some housekeeping first. Friday, June 16th in Denver, Verone Market, the Come Back with Erica Cobb live podcast event is happening. My special guest is Claudia Jordan. My opening act is Al Jackson, and we want to see you there. So go to Eventbrite, type in Come Back with Erica Cobb, and buy your tickets today. We are, at this point, we're a little ahead of schedule. So, yeah, it's coming up. It's imminent. So definitely buy your tickets. And
It's on silence.
And here we go. So welcome, Ebony.
Thank you for having me again.
Yeah. This is so much fun.
I mean, I'm enjoying myself.
It's just, we're like
having a
just
good time.
chilling at the house.
Here for a good time, not a long term.
Well, we'll see.
We'll
see.
figure it out.
We'll see
figure it
how
out.
that happens. We'll see how that happens. So let's start. What's on your mind?
So I had a really funny moment today. I was working, and all of a sudden, like, this flash of lightning just comes out of nowhere, and like kind of lights up my apartment a little bit. And then, without thinking, I just like turned off my TV, unplugged everything around the apartment, and then sat back down and got back on my laptop, and then realized what I did. And I was like, did I just channel my ancestors?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Without even thinking about it. I
Yeah.
was like, nope, make sure everything's off. I turned off the lights. I turned everything off. And then I just sat back down and got on the computer, and I was like, ooh, that doesn't feel right. And then I was like, what am I doing? Why am I making sure electricity's off? I'm not near running water.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to get hurt. And
You
I'm like,
totally channeled the ancestors. And for those of you who aren't in Denver, but I mean, there's been a lot of rain all over the country. So I'm sure y'all are experiencing it too. But we have been getting rain showers and thunder and lightning a lot in Denver lately, which is so crazy. I can't even remember the last time that's happened. But that actually is super funny because I had a conversation with our team members at Daily Blast Live, Jeray and Ebony, because they were talking about the lightning and what they were doing. So we got into this whole conversation about what Black people do when it's lightning outside. And one of the things was you're supposed to be quiet. Like, you're supposed to get really quiet when it's lightning outside.
I guess I'm by myself, so I was really quiet.
Yeah.
I was really quiet, so I did follow that one.
Really quiet. Another thing is you aren't supposed to use the phone, which at that point would have been the house
landline.
phone.
Landline.
Right, you can't use the landline. Another one was go to the basement. I don't know. I don't know what going to the basement is about, but I'm sure like back in the day, the olden days, whatever, there was a reason why when it was thundering and lightning outside, you were supposed to go to the basement. Are there any others that we might have missed?
Running water.
Running water. Oh, because the water is a conduit. Yeah.
The running water
Right.
one. That was one. Don't take a bath. Don't
Yeah.
run water. Don't do. Yeah.
Avoid puddles.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different things that Black people do when it is thundering and lightning outside. So I appreciate that you still had that in your muscle memory.
It came out of nowhere. I looked around and I'm like, why did I do that? Like we live in a modern era. Why am I doing this? Like,
We know because we're ancestrally protected. Okay, we still see. We hear y'all. We hear y'all.
That's wild. Wild. So what's on your mind?
What's on my mind is the idea of perfectionism. Okay. So for those of you who have been following me for a while, you probably know that I have a type A personality.
No way. No way.
And I really struggle with things needing to be perfect. And it's kind of to my detriment. Why are you making
This is all just so much news to me. I had no idea. I had no idea you had a type A personality. None.
Well, I mean, I know how it manifests in my life, but how does it manifest to you?
Oh, we can't even eat takeout without you like setting up a whole display and like scooping all the food out of the containers and making it look beautiful before we can even start to eat.
Because it's a family dinner. You know how I feel about family
It's
dinners.
Popeyes.
It's still a
like,
family
we need
dinner.
all this? Fair. I mean,
Okay, I do feel like a part of the dining experience is aesthetics. And so when we're having dinner, like we'll do tonight, although tonight we're going to go out. Yeah, we'll go out tonight. But when we're having dinner at the house, I want it to be like an experience for everybody at the table because my love language and joy are family dinners. So, yeah, so that is how it manifests itself when it comes to dining. However, right now, obviously, I'm getting ready for the podcast, the live event, and everyone who's been working with me, and thank you to my team. Y'all have been amazing, and my team is like also my friends and family. Everybody, it's all hands on deck. But I just want people to feel like they are thought about when I'm doing an event. And that could be anything from lunch to a big event like the live podcast. So I'm always thinking about going to other people's events and thinking about like things that have been done really well that made me feel thought of and appreciated for being there. And I want to make sure that everyone feels like they've been thought of and appreciated. And I realize that it's driving me insane.
yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know when to cut that off because I feel like if there's something that needs to be done, then it has to be done.
Right then and there.
Or just in general, like it has to be done.
Okay. Okay. What comes to mind for me is Thanksgiving. And how you already have in your mind how the whole week's gonna go. And like every day that we're all in town as a family, it's like a curated event. like you're not even here, you're at work, and we're all just hanging out in your home, and it's a curated event. And I'm like, oh, this is just red carpet treatment. I personally appreciate it. I mean, as someone who's taking full advantage of the situation, love your type A personality. Less work for me. So I mean, I fully support it.
I just think it's important that when people come together, especially if they're coming together for something that you're providing or that you're throwing for whatever, that there's a sense of, care and there's a feeling that you want them there. And there is a reason why my numbers generally are either consistent or they grow every year because word gets out that this is going to be lit.
That's true. Thanksgiving every year is pretty lit. I can't complain.
Well, I mean, we were talking about the ancestors earlier, and I just remember it wasn't that it was like a curated event, but like growing up, going to like things that Big Mama threw, like dinners and stuff, or like Granddaddy and Grandma Mary, like we would go to their house on Richmond, and it was like a huge barbecue that lasted all day, and there was something for everybody, and those are the things that give me like the warm and fuzzies.
So my question for you is, who do you think you got your type A personality from, mom or dad?
Ooh.
I'm not answering that.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one. I mean, we're all hybrids of both mom and dad, but I think in terms of how things need to flow, probably dad. In terms of the care for people, definitely mom. So both is my answer.
That's fair. That's fair.
If you had to do a breakdown, well, no, if you had to do a breakdown in terms of percentage, how much you're like mom and how much you're like dad, what would your breakdown be?
70% dad, 30% mom. For me, 70%
Yeah.
dad, 30% mom.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. I am 60% mom, 40% dad.
Interesting. I think you're like 50-50.
Maybe.
You're more 50-50. I find myself doing things, and also probably because I look just like him. I find myself like mannerisms mall just being like, and I told you.
Yeah, yeah.
All the time. And I'm like, oh, I'm
You
my
do
father.
that. Well, I almost scare myself sometimes because I'll hear a recording of my voice and I'll be like, damn, I sound like mom. Like, oh my gosh, when did that happen? Or just like
That's
the
fair.
worry for absolutely no
Nothing.
reason. Yeah, that is definitely mom. That's
Both lovely
definitely
people.
mom.
Both
They are. Just,
amazing,
I mean, we are
accomplished, lovely people.
very blessed
Very
children.
blessed.
You're listening to Come Back with Erica Cobb. This is Conversations with my sister, Ebony. Okay, so there was a story that was trending a couple weeks ago about Jennifer Hudson.
Okay.
And it was because a woman was thrifting and she went to a thrift store and found a purse that had a note in it that was addressed to Jennifer Hudson, gifting her this purse. And the backstory was it was a part of this woman's company, and she really was inspired by Jennifer Hudson. She wanted her to have this. So she sent it to Jennifer Hudson, and who knows if Jennifer ever used it, but it did end up in the thrift store. And I thought that that would be a really great way to kick off the conversation about gifting in general. Your birthday is coming up.
Yes, it is.
Yes, and we're very excited about that. But when it comes down to it, like, what do you do when someone gives you a gift and you either don't have a need for it or you don't like it? What is the appropriate way to go about receiving that gift or after you receive that gift?
I'll be honest, I have so many stories like this coming from like mom and Auntie Pat, where like it'd be Christmas or my birthday and be like, what do you want? And like I was really young, I was like, I want Beanie Babies. Give me those Beanie Babies, TY Beanie Babies. And like Christmas would come around and it would be like knockoff Beanie Babies. And like, but they are so excited to give them to me that I was like, I cherish it. Like, I appreciate the thought. Like, another one's like, I really, really like, I think in like high school, the iPad just came out. And I really want the iPad. And Christmas morning, I run downstairs, I open up my gift, and it's an iRiver. Um, but like mom was so excited to give it me, I kept that for like 8 years. I think I still have that iRiver. It has some old music on, but like I have an iRiver. I think more about like someone took the time to do something that I'll find a way to cherish it, as opposed to like being like this isn't what I wanted. Because I know like especially like when it's family and they're thinking they're getting something you're really gonna love. That like that took money off like money and time and effort for them to go get it for you. So like I have always just been appreciative of it. Unless it's something I really don't know what to do with, then I'll just like probably throw it away.
You would throw away a gift?
It depends what it is. It depends what it is.
Like you would actually put it in the
It
garbage?
depends. Like if it's like a shirt, I might like make it a cutoff or something, or like wear it like to bed. I don't know. Like it really depends what it is. Like I'll keep it for as long as possible, but like yeah, like if it's electronics, I'll keep them. Yeah, I've thrown some things away. I like because I'm like I'm scared. Like what if I like thrift it and then they find it? So like it's easy.
Okay,
to throw
but
away.
you can't now. That's just wasteful. You can't throw it in the actual garbage
It
can.
depends what it is.
See, I also think it has to do with your lifestyle too,
Yeah.
because you were a digital nomad for 2 years, so you can't really accumulate a lot of things, and people give you something, and then you're like, well, what am I supposed to do with it? Because you've been traveling with literally a carry-on and a backpack for 2 years, which I don't know how the hell you've been doing that. That is like a
Wash
feat
clothes.
in itself. Yeah, I don't wash clothes that often, and I do not wash clothes that often. See, for me, I think it's different. Like what you're describing is growing up and being a kid, receiving gifts from our family, our parents. And those two examples were really, they got you the closest thing that they could economically get you. And like, the same thing. Like, there's no way that you're gonna like just dispose of it, whether you're donating it or you're throwing it away, which is just crazy to me. We'll talk about that more later. You can't throw things away. But I think as an adult, so I have told people so many times, like, okay, I think when you throw a party and like I'll throw like a birthday party, and generally I do that for myself, or my husband will throw a party for me or something like that, but I'm like kind of involved in that. And I'll tell him like, hey, tell everyone not to bring gifts. And inevitably people bring gifts, and then you get people who will like send you things that, you know, they want you to have, but you don't necessarily have the capacity to keep it. And I want there to be like an honest conversation about like, why are you giving gifts? Are you giving gifts because you really want someone to have something? Or are you giving gifts because it makes you feel better about being a part of their conversation or a part of their celebration?
I don't know. I feel like there's almost that yeah, it's almost like an obligation. Like you don't show up to someone's house empty-handed. Like so you don't show up to like, you know, a birthday party and not at least bring something and be like, hey, thank you. I don't know. I take it like wedding rules. You gotta show up. Like at least you gotta pay for your plate. So like, that's how I show up to birthdays. Like I'll bring you a bottle of wine or da da da. Except for your birthday. I know you don't want anything, so I stick to that.
Yeah, Lord.
I appreciate that. So I just go ahead and I'm a respect
Well,
you.
thank you. Thank you for respecting my
problem.
wishes.
No problem. Anytime.
See, I think bringing a bottle of wine, so I do that. I'll bring a bottle of wine, or if I know that they're like a whiskey drinker or something, and if it's like a nice event, I'll get like an elevated bottle. Or if they're not a drinker, then you get something that's like I'll bring flowers or something that somehow contributes to either the decor or the household or something that they can enjoy temporarily as opposed to accumulating a lot of things. Because one, I feel like at this point at 42 years old, I'm celebrating my birthday, but I'm also celebrating my very small at this point circle. So my celebration of life is also a gift to everyone who has contributed in ways that make my life better. So it really is like I'm happy to just have you as a part of my life. So I don't need anything from you, but if you want to do something like that, then yeah, great. Bring a bottle of champagne or bring a bottle of wine or whatever that looks like to you. But when you get like gifts, and I'm not just saying like for birthdays and stuff, like people will give you things and it's like, is it appropriate to give it to someone else who you're really thinking, wow, this person could really benefit from this? Is that rude? Or is it kind of like eco-friendly?
I mean, it's just regifting at that point. Like I've
Right.
given gift cards to people before where I'm like, I don't really drink coffee like that. Let me go ahead and give you this gift card.
Right.
Happy birthday. Because I'm not going to use it. But yeah, I don't. I mean, if it's something like personal, then yeah, I'd feel bad about regifting it or throwing it away. But if it's like a gift card or something that like I'm clearly not going to use, then like at least someone's going to get use of it. So I don't think it's like a bad idea. But I also just throw things away. So am I really the person to talk to about this?
Well, you think about it, because I just keep thinking like, okay, people were kind of like coming for Jennifer Hudson about it. And I'm thinking like, how much stuff does she receive from people who, you know, it was a gift, but at the same time, it was a promotion for someone's company? And how often is she receiving things that are promotions for someone's company? And there's this expectation that like, you know, well, there's a hope, obviously, that she uses it and gets photographed with it. And that's great. And it's a great publicity opportunity for people. And I respect and appreciate that. I definitely, I mean, even what I'm wearing right now from shout out to Day Moda, receiving something like that where it's like very on brand for who I am, like, you know, that tells me that that person, Katina, understands who her clientele is, and she understands that this is something that I would potentially wear. And so, yeah, so when I receive something like this, I'm gonna wear it until it gets worn out, which it really doesn't get worn out very often because it's really great quality of clothes. See, so I can understand why people would send me stuff.
I mean, no one sends me anything, but if you need my sizes, go ahead and just hit Erica's DM. I can go ahead and get those sizes. Feel free to send me whatever you like. I personally like t-shirts and hats. So, you know.
Okay, well, yeah, since we clearly can't get her on social media, then yeah, I guess you can let me know if you need to send Ebony something. But this is a really serious question because I have received things from people, whether I know them or not, and I look at it and I'm like, oh, this is cool. This is something that Ebony would really like. Or, oh, this is cool. This is something that one of my friends would really like. And then I'll give it to them. But the question is it considered proper decorum to gift it to someone if you didn't buy it yourself?
I'm gonna say yes. Because I've done it. So, yeah. I mean, if it's, what else are you gonna do with it?
Yeah.
Like, some things I'm just like, I clearly don't want this. Like, this isn't something I would use. They maybe just don't know me and they just thought, hey, I'm just gonna buy this. Like, I've done it and been like, oh, I know who's gonna like this, and I've definitely regifted it. And been like, hey, this. I'll usually tell on myself too. Be like, hey, someone gave me this, but I thought of you, so here you go. Happy birthday.
And what's the response?
It's usually like, oh, I do like this, thanks.
Yeah.
Like, cool. Like, oh, yeah. Like, you know me. This can't be shocking. Like,
See, I am thinking about the Christmas that we spent
I
together
was gonna say that.
during lockdown, and you flew out in a hazmat suit and spent Christmas with me and Anthony. And we didn't know that Ebony was going to come until very last minute. So my husband went to Walgreens and basically bought out the gift aisle at Walgreens.
It was the toy aisle. And, like, I feel comfortable saying this. I threw majority of that stuff away.
Okay.
It was, like, pens, dart guns, paper, just random things that were at Walgreens.
Well, it was like puzzles, the dart guns we still have.
Yeah, I think I took half the darts, though, because I had my own dart gun.
There were walkie-talkies.
Walkie-talkies. I think I left I think whatever I left here, I assumed was thrown away. Like, I think they just didn't want me to open up anything. So have an empty, I guess, have nothing for Christmas. So instead, Anthony took the time to wrap up pens and paper.
Yeah.
And several other things. Some things I kept. But for the most part, that's the most recent time I remember being like, yeah, this is going in the garbage.
Yeah, we weren't offended. I mean, now occasionally I'll walk around a corner and get hit with a dart pellet or whatever it's called. Yeah, so I mean, chime in. Listen, I understand that this might seem like a very privileged conversation, but I don't think it is. I think that everyone has had a situation where they've received something from someone, no matter how big or small, and you're like, okay, I don't know if this person really knows or understands who I am in terms of like giving me something. And then it's this awkward like gift purgatory because you have given someone something that maybe it was a last minute thought. Maybe a lot of thought wasn't put into it. Maybe you're just looking for something to give them and that's what ended up happening. Or you receive something that you're like, oh, this is clearly a regift, or, you know, this isn't really my style. I don't know what to do with it. So what do you do is the question. Fair. This is great sibling debate. And I think we were on the same page with the last one. But after a breakup, do you have to break up with the friends as well? Or can you continue to have mutual friends? Now, this has come up in so many different ways. And I'll just start with this example because I recently had a conversation with someone and I shared my experience with them because it was so similar in a lot of ways and I wanted to show camaraderie on my thoughts. But so, as you all know who have been listening to my podcast for a while, I was married before. And there was a situation where a friend that I had for a very long time, far before I ever met my ex-husband, really wanted to continue to be friends with my ex, which I didn't have an issue with at the time. But then I had moved on with my life, and this person wanted to continue to bring up my ex, which in that particular time in my life, I wasn't interested in continuing to have conversations about my ex or updates on where he was and who he was with and what his life was like, because I felt like we were divorced and we were moving on with our lives in different directions. And you are literally the only person in my life who wants to continue to have these conversations, these comparison conversations, and also to keep this conversation going. And I didn't appreciate it to the point where we're not as close as we used to be anymore. So, is it appropriate to continue to have mutual friends if you've broken up?
Interesting. Uh, yes, I have mutual friends with exes. But I do think there are rules and boundaries to that. Meaning, if I'm going through something in my life, and one of my best friends is a mutual friend with an ex, and they're still great friends. But there are those boundaries where it's like whatever's going on in my life stays between us, and whatever's going on in their life stays between you 2. So I think it is possible, but I'm like, also, I'm just a fun time, so it's kind of hard to meet me and not want to keep hanging out with me. So, like, there's that part where I always feel like I can go places and make friends fairly quickly, so then it's kind of hard when that happens. Like, I can, like you've seen me do this. I can easily meet someone and, like, meet them through a group, and then we become friends, and we branch out and, like, have our own friendship outside of how we met, or the people we met with. So I think that's kind of one of the issues I have. So it kind of happens to me a lot, where I do end up in those situations with, like, having mutual friends with exes, but also I do it with people who understand that, like, this is an exclusive relationship in terms of friendship. Like, it's not meaning we're all going to hang out together. It just means that we have something we connect on, and that's why we're friends.
I think that's very fair. I don't see it that way, though. I know that it works for you because I've seen it in action and it seems like a very healthy relationship. But I think it really takes a certain type of person in order to really have mutually exclusive relationships with both parties. Because in my experience, and it wasn't just this particular person of the example that I gave earlier, it turned out to be it turned out to be more people than I felt comfortable with. And another thing about that is, in this case, she or he who wins the breakup becomes the villain. So if you go on to have like what people perceive to be a better quality of life, or you are, doing well, and maybe that's not the situation or the perception for the other person, then there's this need as a friend, which I understand, to be there for the person who might be struggling versus the person who is perceived to not be struggling. And I don't know how you maintain a friendship equally when people are because in that sense, you're kind of choosing sides.
But are you? Because it depends on really what that relationship was and how it ended. Like, was there a mutual respect when it ended, or was there, like, a hard, like, separation? Meaning, like, I don't want to see you again, da da da. And it also depends on, like, what that friendship was during the course of the relationship. So, meaning, like, do they feel like they have to pick sides, or are they just like, well, I know I can go to this person for this and this person for that? It's tough, because also, in someone's story, you're the villain, no matter what.
Right.
So, there's also that part of it where they're going to tell a story, and if that person doesn't know you well enough, or they weren't paying attention to what was happening, they're going to believe that part of the story. So, I think it's tough. Like, it just really depends on the person, and, like, both people. Like, for me personally, I just always do this. Like, it doesn't matter if I'm dating your friend or not. I'm going to make a friendship with you, and then we're going to have this whole separate thing that might be about sports, that might be about something else. Like, that's what I do. So I have a weird group of friends at times that are like know me through different stages. But yeah, I think it's a tough one, because it really depends on, like, how you end those relationships and, like, how that story gets told. And if it's like a mutual breakup, then usually, you kind of already have that in mind of, like, yeah, we're still cool. Now, if they're petty, though, you can't hang out with Ebony anymore. And then that's just like, you're grown. You can figure out what you want to do.
Yeah, I think that transparency and communication is very important. And I mean, granted, it's been over a decade since my last relationship, and I was much younger and a very different person, and everyone involved was much younger and very different people. So I don't know if that were to happen today, that it would be the same type of dynamic. But I do understand that when it happened, it made me feel like the universe, the ether, whatever, was really pushing me to say, these are where my friendship boundaries lie. And if this isn't something that you can understand or get on board with, then we just can't be friends anymore, which is perfectly fine. I think that every relationship is reason, season, lifetime. So at the end of the day, maybe it was a season or a reason relationship. And I think that's to be respected as well. I don't think that every dissolution of a relationship is a failure of that relationship. It's just a sign that you have moved on in different ways, no different than a divorce.
Yeah. I mean, I'll agree with that. I just feel like it's so, as an adult, you can make your own decision. So as an adult, I can say I want to continue to have the friendship with someone, or I don't. This person means a lot to me, or I really felt like I confide in this person, and we feel like we have a mutual respect, and they understand boundaries, or they don't. And I feel like that's just one of those things where, the relationship ends of how you guys met, but it's really up to, the adults in this situation to say, I want to continue to be your friend. Let's keep this friendship going.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's fair. Y'all chime in and let us know. Can you have mutual friends with an ex? All right, as we're wrapping this up, what are you looking forward to?
I have next week off work. Fully plan on doing a self-care week. Get a massage, get my nails done, maybe get my hair did, everything done.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe do some acupuncture. I don't know. Just enjoying my self-care week.
Yeah. I had a self-care week when I had a week off, and you were in town. You were still living with us at that point. And it was pretty amazing because everybody thinks like, oh, I have time off work. I should be like flexing for the gram. No. My rule now is like, I get time off work. I got to get my life together. So I'm glad that you are taking the time to do some self-care, because that's going to be, I mean, let's face it. Traveling is a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of anxiety.
I always travel.
Exactly.
It's not like it's a chance. Like this will be my first whole week off in my own place.
Nice.
I don't really have to do anything. I'll probably come over here, hop in a hot tub. But definitely coming through. But yeah, it's like I have my own space. I don't have to do anything. I fully plan on taking advantage of someone's Netflix. Oh, can't do that anymore. Someone's Hulu.
Oh, because you can't share passwords.
Can't share
yeah.
Netflix. Yeah, fully planning on taking advantage of that and just hanging out and getting some self-care done and some just alone time.
Nice.
What are you looking forward to?
I am looking forward to, so this is going to sound so silly, but as you know, we have the live podcast event coming up, and I am going to get my step and repeat.
What?
So a step and repeat. So when you go to a function and there's like a wall that has like all of the logos on it, and this is my first step and repeat. I am such a nerd, I know. But I've dreamed like since I was probably 12 years old of having like a sign with my logo on it that people took pictures in front of, and this event is going to have the very first one, and I am like so looking forward to this that I might actually set it up in the house. I am such a nerd. I can't help it. I am so excited to get the step and repeat. I am excited about my purple carpet. So that is what I'm looking forward to. And from here on out, anything we have at the house, even if it's Popeyes for dinner, we might have to do a step and repeat moment. It's so happening. It's so happening. And I'm so excited. And I'm so excited that y'all have joined us today. Thank you for listening to Come Back with Erica Cobb, Comeback Conversations with my sister. As always, you can hit us up on social media. Well, you can hit me up on social media at Erica Cobb. Go to YouTube for the visuals, and yeah, leave us a review, leave us a 5-star rating. We'd love to hear from you.
Quick question: what are you doing on the 16th of June?
The Comeback with Erica Cobb live podcast event. So get your tickets now on eventbrite.com.
Gotcha.
Thanks for listening.